So today we're making the chocolate chip cookie pops. It's a super easy recipe and you get to have a lot of fun with chocolate and drizzling chocolate everywhere and just making a big old mess. So let's do it. So the first thing we're going to do is pop our butter in a bowl. It needs to be nice and soft, otherwise it's going to be way too much arm work. So put it in the microwave for maybe 10-20 seconds if it's a bit too hard, or just leave it out the fridge until you're ready to get going. Nice soft butter, and we're going to throw in our sugar. We've got light brown sugar and we've got caster sugar, so they can both just go in together. And then we're going to mix it up until it's a really smooth consistency. So I've done that, really easy. So next you're going to add your egg yolk. Easiest way to do that is just to crack the egg on the side of the bowl, and then you can either use the shell to move the egg from one shell to the next to try and separate them out, or you can just pick it up with your fingers and let the egg yolk sit in your hand whilst the white just drips through. Now we're going to add the flour. There's also half a teaspoon of salt in here. We don't need to add any raising agents because we don't want these cookies to get too big and puffy. We want them to stay in a nice uniform shape. And now we can throw in our chocolate chips. A lot of chocolate chips. We're going to pop the dough in the freezer for a little bit once we've mixed it all together, just to make it a little bit easier to work with. There's so much butter in these cookies that they're going to get quite soft really quickly. So now we're ready to roll the dough out. I tend to put it in the freezer for about 15 minutes just to let it harden up so that when we're cutting our shapes out, it doesn't get too squidgy and start melting on your fingers. You can either use some greaseproof paper, or I tend to use a food bag like this. So you're just gonna pick up your dough, chuck it in the bag. If you try and put it in the freezer in one big lump and then take it out, it is going to be hard work trying to roll it back out again. So putting it in the freezer already in a sheet form just makes life so much easier. So you kind of want it to look like this, and we're going to put it in the freezer for about 15 minutes. So we've got our dough back out the freezer, and now we're just going to roll it smooth. If you haven't got a freezer, just chuck it in the fridge for about 25 minutes. You basically just want it soft enough that you can still kind of move it around, but firm enough that it's not melting on your fingers. So I'm rolling it to just under 1 centimetre thick. These will puff up when they cook. So now we're ready to cut out our cookies. So the way that we're going to do it is cut out our hearts. Lollipop stick is going to go on top, and then we're going to smudge a bit of extra dough over that just to hold it all in place. So first we can cut these out, and you want to lay them on a greaseproof lined baking sheet. So now we're ready to put our lollipops together. Now you need to line your baking tray. I have just realised that I've got no greaseproof paper. Don't copy this. This is going to be a nightmare. My cookies might get stuck to the tray. So make sure you line your baking sheet. Got all your little heart shapes. So you're going to take a heart and a lolly stick, turn the heart over, and then you want to grab a piece of your leftover dough and just squidge it into the back of the heart. Flip it over, and it's ready to bake. These are going to go into the oven at 170, and they're going to bake for about 9 to 10 minutes until they're just starting to brown. Now the cookies are out the oven and they're nice and warm. We want to pop these white chocolate discs on whilst the cookies are still warm to the touch. This will make them melt to the top, and you can make cute little eyes with your white chocolate chips and your brown chocolate chips. So stick all of those on. Don't need to be too neat about it. And now's the fun part. So you need to melt your chocolate in the microwave in 30-second bursts. So 30 seconds, give it a stir, 30 seconds, and then you can chuck it in the piping bag and pipe little messages or little smiley faces on, or just do whatever you fancy and have fun with it.